You're listening to Out for the Weekend with Nicola Meehan on BBC Radio Scotland.
It's Friday. It's nearly the weekend. I'm Nicola Meehan. We've got music, books, theatre, food, flowers and more coming up. Lovely to have you here with me on Out for the Weekend. I am Nicola Meehan. As ever, we have loads of weekend adventures lined up for you over the next 2 hours. We're going to be getting the lowdown on Nairn Arts and Book Festival. We're going to be taking time out for a mindful moment. And our Frankie learns that playing golf is more exciting than she thinks. And in the meantime, our first guests this afternoon have been raising the roof in Glasgow's King's Theatre this week, belting out some of the greatest and best loved songs in musical theatre and singing the praises of a legendary coat of many colours. Yes, the cast of Joseph and the Technicolor Dreamcoat have been thrilling audiences in the city, and I am delighted to be joined right now in the Glasgow studio by Jamie Henson, who plays Joseph, and Alexandra Dorr, who stars as the narrator. Welcome, how are you?
Hi.
Good, thank you.
We had a good little bop in the studio there to Womack and Womack,
We
did we
did
not?
indeed. Well, I got a PPI call. My phone was ringing. I was like, can I answer it now?
It was all go, wasn't it? It was quite a beginning. But listen, enough about the dramas in here, because my goodness, you're bringing to the stage such a legendary kind of feat of musical theatre. How's it been so far? You've been touring this production of Joseph and the Amazing Technicolor Dreamcoat for a while now.
That I have. I started in February, but Alex joined us.
I'm pretty brand new. I started, we had a week of rehearsals about 2 weeks ago.
Yep.
So we learnt the whole show in a week.
Oh.
And then we opened last week in Cheltenham. That was my first ever opening night.
This
is
is
Debut.
absolutely amazing, because it's been getting rave reviews, your production, but it's really early on in terms of actually both of your experiences of musical theatre. This is an
Absolutely.
early work, right?
Yeah, I mean, I think, I'm 6 months in now, and it was my first ever opening night in a professional musical, a full-scale musical. I think I'd done bits and pieces here or there, like smaller shows, we've done that, but actually being the lead in a full-scale tour was... It's quite daunting, but I think what's been lovely with this is where the new cast, Alex and a few of the other guys have joined us last week, it's brought such a new energy to us, because it is long hours. We are doing 10 to 12 shows a week, and I think you do need sometimes a pick-me-up to kind of like get the energy back, and these guys have come in and they're just absolutely wonderful. They work so hard. I wasn't in rehearsals, I was away on another job, so I literally came in the Saturday afternoon before we opened on Tuesday,
amazing.
Yeah.
met all these guys and just saw what they'd done in a week, and I was blown away. So yeah, it's brought a whole new feel
The
to
absolute magic happened within that time. Tell us a little bit, Alex, about the story. Remind us about Joseph and the Technicolor Dreamcoat, because it's one of these things I think we can all sing along with some of those songs. And tell us a bit about your role and how it unfolds on stage.
Well, I am the narrator, I'm the storyteller, and in a way I think all of the characters, I like to imagine it, that they come out of my imagination.
Yeah.
I kind of bring them all to life on the stage. And so it's the story of a family, Jacob's family, and he has all these, is it 11 sons?
12,
11,
including me, yeah.
11 and Joseph. So 12 sons, and his favourite son, Joseph, and he buys him this beautiful coat, and all the other sons are really jealous. And so, I don't know how much am I allowed to spoil, is that?
No, just go for it. Tell everyone. They do me over. They send me off as a slave to Egypt.
Yeah,
Such
so
a
he
charm.
gets sold as a slave, he gets put in a jail cell, and he's working for some guy who owns most of the Nile and a load of pyramids. Yeah, and it's just the story of his highs and lows, and all the people that he meets on the way.
And these songs. I mean,
And
the
the songs.
costumery itself. How is your coat?
Good, yeah,
incidentally?
hot.
I
Well,
bet.
how many
heavy.
coats?
1, 2. We'll have one that they rip up. 2.
It is a
five,
treacherous
I think,
deal.
yeah. It is actually. Someone said to me that came to see it this week, they said, I didn't realise how comedic it is. And I said, it has to be, because actually the story is quite dark and quite
Yeah.
grim.
It really is. My
Yeah.
kids got quite obsessed with it when they were really,
Yeah.
really little. They had the DVD of it. Is it Donny Osmond?
Donny
Isn't
Osmond,
it?
yeah.
Right.
Maria
Okay.
Friedman.
Well, wow. I don't know quite who introduced them to it. It wasn't me or their father. Nonetheless, they got hold of this DVD
Yeah.
on constantly. They were mesmerised, but they were quite scared as well. It's
Yeah.
really, really kind
It is
of
a tough
full-on.
story.
Yeah.
And what I think the music is so transcendent, which is why it's around 50 years. It's since its inception as a cantata for a junior school production. It's been 50 years now. And the songs speak for themselves. And it is just the amazing writing of Tim Rice and Andrew Lloyd Webber that actually the songs haven't been updated that much. I do a few riffs here and there because of what my past in my career is, that kind of what people want to come and see.
Which we should touch upon, of course.
Yeah,
Union
so
J,
I've been in a pop band for
Yeah.
so they they've been gracious to let me have a little bit of, not too much, but free reign, and Alex has got the same, because we are modern singers and there'd be no point in us trying to sound like someone who was 50 years ago in that style of music. But ultimately the music is exactly the same, and that's rare to have something that lasts that test of time.
Well, we're lucky enough that you've brought some instruments all the way from the Kings and beyond into the studio this afternoon.
Director.
Yeah, Mike's here as well. Well, listen, we'd love to hear something this afternoon if you guys are ready.
Yeah, we're going to do a little 3-minute version of Joseph, I think.
When you're ready, live on Out for the Weekend here on BBC Radio Scotland. Everyone's rushing around the studio now, getting to their microphones, swapping headphones. The cast of Joseph, or some of them, in the studio this afternoon. Oh, there's kind of a game of charades going on. There's silent hand gestures. Whenever you're ready, guys.
We all dream aloud. Some are lucky, some are not. But if you think it, want it, dream it, then it's real. You are what you feel. But all that I say can be told another way. In the story of a boy whose dream came true. He could be you.
I close my eyes, drew back the curtain to see for certain what I thought I knew. Far, far away, someone was weeping, but the world was sleeping. Any dream will do. I wore my coat, with golden lining, bright colors shining, wonderful and new. And in the east, the dawn was breaking, and the world was waking. Any dream will do. A crash of drums, a flash of light, my golden coat flew out of sight. The colors faded into darkness. I was left alone. May I return to the beginning. The light is dimming, and the dream is too. The world and I, we are still waiting, still hesitating. Any dream will do. Close every door to me. Keep those I love from me. Children of Israel are never alone, for we know we shall find our own peace of mind. For we have been promised a land of our own.
Oh, unbelievable. That was a note and a half at the end. My goodness. Oh, we got it. And then some. My goodness me. Jamie Henson, Alexandra Dorr, and of course, musical director Mike Steele there, live on Out for the Weekend here on BBC Radio Scotland. A pit stop tour through the wonder of Joseph and the Technicolor Dreamcoat. Now, when I was I'll tell you what, we will come and see it. Yeah, exactly. There are a few other bits you haven't heard. We've also had a text during that very song saying 3-year-old Matthew and his mummy can't wait for the 5 p.m. performance of Joseph tonight. Sounding fab on Radio Scotland. There you go. I used to sing that song when I was in the school choir, and let me tell you, it never sounded anything like that.
It's so funny when we started, when I found out that I got the job, I looked up Jamie. I was like, oh, I'm going to be singing with Jamie.
Yeah.
My mom and I found this video of him singing, what was it, from Les Mis?
Oh, Bring Him Home.
Oh, and my mom and I just fell in love. I was like, I get to sing with that. Oh, it's just
so
great.
And it's nice for me, especially for me, as coming from the background I've had, where people just think, oh, you're an X Factor in a boy band, you don't actually sing. And again, the music I've released, I haven't really been able to showcase that side of my voice, but musical theatre was what I trained to do, and that's where my voice actually sits, is quite operatic, stuff like that. So it's just been lovely, but it's also nice again with Alex's voice, where she's got, again, I find the similar mix to me of the classic style of her voice, but also the modern pop. And just, I think when you have singers, it's sometimes difficult to blend and stuff, but when I came in rehearsal with Alex, and just we've kind of got a similar mentality of where notes should go and where you clip off, and it's just that's what's been great about this new edge of this new show, is that the people are just wonderful, the whole cast are just fantastic, and we've all gelled really well. So yeah, it's really fun.
It's also, I think, a great thing to open any type of art form up to other audiences. So if it's bringing in Union G audiences, if it's bringing in fans of your pop careers, to kind of the theatre and to these stories and these works, then that's absolutely brilliant.
And also
a
selfish thing as well, it's great for us to be opening up to a new fan base
of
people that didn't know what we do or didn't know us before. And the fan base in Joseph, I can only, it's like a cult. Like these guys love it. And I'm used to that kind of sort of fangirl thing from the band and seeing it with like my contemporaries from Little Mix and One Direction. I'm used to that hardcore fan base. Had no idea it was going to be quite as intense with Joseph, but they are just, and I was so nervous because people are really they've got their favourites.
It's very personal to them, isn't it?
They either saw Jason Donovan or they saw Philip Schofield, and the same with the narrator as well. The people have their favourites, but they're just so welcoming, and they've not been judgmental for us making the role our own. We're still respectful that the role is the role,
because it's about the show.
Of course
isn't
it is, but you
it's
have to put your own twist on it. Otherwise, there's no point. You might as well just watch a DVD.
Exactly. And Alex, were you a fan of this particular musical theatre? I mean, was Joseph? It's something I think we all kind of know about. It's in our sort of collective imagination as one of these of pop cultural iconic moments. Were you a fan? How much did you know about it? And I guess its legacy, because it is huge.
Yeah, it was growing up, it was one of the ones that I watched over and over and over as a kid. Yeah, that was it. Donny Osmond and Maria Friedman, and I loved it. And then I saw it. The auditions came through, and I thought, I'm going to kick myself if I don't apply for this. And it's absolutely been a dream come true.
Is it as much of like a school thing in the States?
No.
It's not like it is for us.
That was because I grew up in Southern California, but it was really nice to be able to move back because I wanted to do music in school, and it was a huge struggle in the States to study music. It all had to be extracurricular, and so when I came over, it meant that I could go to university and study musical theatre and go to a drama school, and it was in the curriculum a lot more than it is in the States. So I think it's definitely a much more of an English thing.
Yeah.
It's also that idea you're saying about kind of taking this iconic kind of work, restaging it, bringing the songs to life, absolutely respecting the originals, but putting your own kind of slant and bringing your voices to it. And also, as you said, Jimmy, this idea of shaking up the cast now and again. So who's coming to Aberdeen? Because it's going to Aberdeen after it's been at the Kings, but again, some of you are coming, some of you aren't. Is that
everyone's going but me?
Basically,
I had a pre-contracted thing before I took the role in February. It was the only week that I couldn't do, and I mean, I'm as much as I'm looking forward to like doing something else next week, I'm kind of a bit like, oh no, don't leave, don't carry on without me. It's like everyone just take the week off. We'll just stop the show for weeks. I'll be jealous watching updates.
I was going to say that off social media, just don't look at anything. Especially in
and honestly, I mean, sometimes people are a bit funny about your leads taking time off or other work and stuff, but I can honestly say these guys work so hard, and my understudy Tom, I've got 3, Tom, George and Will, they're just amazing guys, and I think sometimes it's really important to let other people have a go as well, like, because they want to get on stage and do it, so you're in for a treat at whoever you see. Even like Alex's understudy, all of the understudies are so talented as well, that
amazing.
I think people hopefully don't get discouraged when
And it's a huge thing. It's a huge thing in this show because it is so full on all the time.
Yeah.
Pretty much every single one of us multi-roles. So
Yeah.
if someone's off, he goes on as this person, and
Yeah.
then so-and-so else, they cover this role, and then they do this dance track. And so
Yeah.
everyone knows the whole show inside out. And it's
Versatile as
such
well.
hard work.
Well,
yeah.
listen, we're delighted you're coming to Aberdeen. This show usually comes from there on a Friday, so we'll all be back up there by the time you are. We'll miss you, Jamie.
I
You
know,
can't have
I'll video
everything.
link.
Thank you so much,
worries.
Jamie, Alex, and Mike. Thank you so much
Thank
for coming
you.
in this afternoon.
Thank you.
And Joseph and the amazing Technicolor Dreamcoat runs at the King's Theatre in Glasgow till tomorrow, and then yes, it's up in Aberdeen, His Majesty's Theatre, from the 10th to the 14th. Thank you again.